Welcome back, everyone. We are looking into Jenkins today. So I thought before finishing series of any particular tool, we can instead start several series and keep adding on to them because series doesn't. I don't really intend to finish any series because there is always going to be a new content on that tool. So that's the idea. First, I'm starting everything. So right now, without wasting time, we are going ahead for Jenkins. Now, Jenkins can be installed on your local machine on my laptop, but I don't want to do that. If you don't know Docker, just watch one or two videos that I have. That will be enough to follow this. And even if you don't want to follow, just install it. Pause this video, install Docker, and just follow through what I'm doing because this is a very clean and easy installation for Jenkins. And once you don't require it, it's very easy to clean. So I prefer to keep these things on Docker itself. So we need image for that. Right now we don't have Jenkins. Now don't pull Jenkins. We don't need, this is an outdated image and it's not really helpful anymore. So this is the new updated image of Jenkins. Once you pull that, it's going to take a little while. We will go through into theory of Jenkins too as well. It's fairly easy and easy to understand. So in this video, we are going to cover basic installation of Jenkins and how everything is set up. So yeah, we are going to set it up on our Docker container. You can install it anywhere you like. So we have the image, right? So we have to run a container. Again, if you don't know Docker, just write these commands to get the Jenkins started. But for those who do know, we are running a container in a detached mode. Jenkins, we have to expose a port so we can use it properly. Jenkins runs on 8080 and we can name it Jenkins for ease of use. And we are going to use Jenkins image. Did we miss anything? No, we are good. So since the container has started, yeah, so we should be able to see Jenkins on our local host. Yes, there. For Jenkins, using Jenkins, we are going to use the web browser. What's wrong? I just started my PC, that's why. Okay, so we are going to go localhost and why is it so zoomed in? Okay, so we need a password, and this is where the location is. So of course, if you installed it on your laptop, you can just directly go into this directory. But we installed it inside our container, so we are going to execute command on our container. This name was Jenkins. Cat this file for me, will you? That's my password. Don't save it. Install suggested. I would also suggest it just installed, and this is going to take time, a lot of time actually. So until then, we can catch up with a bit of theory, right? So we can start with why do we need Jenkins? It's for simple answer is CI/CD. Actually, write it like this. And if you don't know what CI/CD is, it is continuous integration and continuous delivery. Let me write it down for you. Type it down, not write it down. Continuous integration and continuous delivery. What does this mean, man? If you don't know what this means, you're probably not a professional, which is fine. This is for everyone. So, when companies are, let's say they have a website, that's 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 the main, well, thing, that thing, main application. A company is maintaining their website. That's their task. That's what they have to do. Let's say right now they already do have a website. Okay. So what's the normal procedure? Website is coded on HTML, let's say. It's much more complicated than that, but let's just say you have the code, whatever, everything. Developers coded, right? So you have the code there, but you are updating your website. So you get the code. They are going to change the code. Developers are going to work, and UI team is going to work on their code. And well, you have new code now. But what do you think? If they have a website with a lot of customers, it's a reputed company, they can't just change the code like that. They have to go through procedures, and developers just don't really necessarily know how to get that into production mode where everyone can see it. They know how to code, they know how to deal with this stuff, but they don't necessarily know how do I get this into servers. They are not Linux experts. Or whatever the case be, they're not cloud experts, and so on and so forth, whatever the scenario be. So their job was to code. So first it would be, let's say generally, in a general speaking way, verified if this is a working code or not. It's tested. And then it's going to be tested in a more real environment. And then it's going to be partially released. This is a case scenario. This is not all scenarios for Jenkins, but you will understand why we need it. Then it is completely released. So before Jenkins, before CI/CD, if there is no continuous integration and continuous delivery, this is part of integration, just to be clear. This is also part of integration. Now this is because it's being released part of delivery, and this is part of delivery. So in normal scenario, a person would verify it. They give the code to this XYZ person, and then they said, okay, its code is good. Then they will test it, and depending on scenario, tests that vary. Let's say if it's a website, you're going to test huge load, and load means huge hits on the website. That's one way of testing it. So can the website hold? Are there any sort of errors in the UI because of the code? Is everything smooth? And all that kind of thing. Once that's done, some another person will release it. And what I mean by partially release is it's going to, let's say you have 100% traffic to the website. So we are still not sure if this code is perfect. We tested it, but real life is real life. So you transfer 1% people to the new code. Oh God. And 99% people still see the old code, right? So this is enough for you to know if everything is working fine. If once that's done, you go for 100%. And that is completely releasing it. But that's the procedure of doing these things. But how do you, where does Jenkins come in, and why do we need it? People are doing it. This will take time, this will take time, this will take time, this will take time. Practically speaking, about a week. At least if it's a bigger company, take it 2 weeks. Well, Jenkins can do this in 1 hour. Prox. If website is small, it can do it in 5 minutes too. Because what we are really doing is writing a code, Jenkins code in Groovy language. That's the language Jenkins uses to write the script. Jenkins file, it's called. And in this, we are going to say, or let the operator know what has to be done in pod format. Operator is Jenkins, by the way. So you write everything down in a way to tell Jenkins XYZ tasks have to be done. What that means essentially is you're going to code how to verify, you're going to code how to test in real environment, and you're going to code partial releasing, and you're going to code completely releasing, and at each step you're going to check, hey, if this works, only then proceed. If this works, only then proceed. If this works, only then proceed. And finally your job, task is done. And Jenkins will do it auto. And how Jenkins will know when the developer has committed, or you can use also, or you can also use push the new code. That will trigger Jenkins to do everything it has to do. So once Jenkins knows, oh, new code has arrived from the developers, it will verify it, it will test it, it will partially release it, completely release it, and developers and everything. We don't need any other human input. The only human input you need after creating Jenkins is creating another. So using a DevOps engineer who's creating this file, that's the only input. Once that's done, you don't have to worry about anything. And your code will Jenkins will completely do everything on its own. Oh God, this is... So I hope you understand that. So if you have to answer in one sentence, it's automating delivery process. And of course, in doing that, also automating integrating process. So integrating is getting your code integrated, pushed into, change it into only an existing system, and delivery is making sure that it reaches your clients, the end users, whoever they are. So this is continuous integration and continuous delivery. Nobody has to point out or do anything. So I guess we can wait until this is done. Then I will come back because the rest of the theory is inside the Jenkins. So let's wait. Okay, so we are back with this. If you see something like this, don't worry, it's perfectly normal. In fact, if this didn't happen, that would be, well, not normal. You can retry it. If it works, okay. If it doesn't, there's still a way around it. Because Jenkins does have issues with installing plugins. It's not really a straightforward thing for it. You are bound to experience these sort of things while installing and even after installation. So just a heads up that this is normal. See, things are getting installed now, but if you still get an error, that's fine as well. You can write your personal names and stuff, but I'm going to continue as admin. Yeah, that is fine. Start using Jenkins. So in case your plugins got messed up, and there is a good chance that you just go to manage Jenkins. These are in the available ones. We don't really need these many. In the available ones, you will see a lot of Git ones, and if some plugin named pipeline, let me show you mine. So if you see these in the available ones, because I have them installed, I don't have to install them again. Yeah, these ones, Git plugins, Git API, GitHub plugins. Make sure these ones are there. Gradle plugin is there, and a very important one, pipeline API is there. Build step declarative is there. Pipeline GitHub Groovy libraries is there. This is just a heads up, but it should work from right from start. So once that's done, you're going to create a new pipeline. Oh, I didn't tell you what a pipeline is, right? Pipeline is basically the whole code that automates this, automates all of this. So if you want to know what a pipeline is in your head, at least, I'm not really good at definitions. So developer inputs to pipeline, and what comes out is delivery. So the whole process, whole testing, everything is abstracted. That's the pipeline. That's what we're going to create. The only purpose of Jenkins is to create pipeline and do things with it accordingly. That's the most important function of Jenkins, to create pipeline. These are freestyle projects. You don't really need to do this. We are going to work on pipeline for now. And you could call it anything, just a terminal pipeline. This BIP would work. Okay. Now this is the configuration screen. You see how your pipeline will look like, and these are all the options. We are going to talk about them sooner or later, not right now. There are very important use cases. Now, pipelines are of two types. There is a scripted pipeline and there is a declarative pipeline. So we are going to use the declarative pipeline. What's the difference? Okay, I didn't really want to go through it right now, but it's easy, fairly easy. So two pipelines, types of pipelines. One is scripted. So thing with this scripted is it's old and hard to use, and it's can be done from Jenkins GUI only. You cannot write it somewhere else. Use it. No. And we have the declarative. This is what we are going to use right now, and most people use this for obvious reasons. Pipeline. This is new, easy to use, and can be written anywhere, like GitHub, etc. So if it's in management systems like GitHub, so it's easy to edit later and change its version. If anything goes wrong, go back to easy version. So it's much more easy and much more comprehensive. And in all practical purposes, that's what people do. They create the pipeline on GitHub, and it's just basically a file called Jenkins file, exactly a Jenkins file is what you call it, and you script inside it. But we are not touching GitHub right now, so we are going to write our script right here. And the syntax is pretty easy. You say, hey, I need a pipeline. So the entire pipeline is going to be inside this block. And pipeline goes through stages, okay? So where in practical purposes, there is a build stage, there is a testing stage, and there is a deployment stage, for example. But from use cases to use cases, that depends what you are, the stages will be and what happens at each stage. What you have to know is one stage works only then the other stage works. So the stage written coded higher above works normally by default first. So you have to say, I have these stages. And worst stage, you have to name the stage is like this. And next stage, hope I'm not going fast. You can name them anything according to whatever you feel like. And so on and so forth. So the first stage is going to execute first, then the second stage is going to execute first. Now inside stage, there are steps. So what are the steps that are going to take place in this stage? Similarly, I can just write it so everything is comprehensive. What are the steps that are going to take place in this stage? Fun, I have to end this video, so let's just say echo hello world. Let's try something. Hello viewers. And the second stage, I just want to echo second stage is working. So that's your pipeline. In this stage, the only thing that's happening is this, and in this stage, only thing that is happening is this. And if you didn't understand it by default, this is actually working inside a Jenkins node, and node is a virtual machine, so you can think of it as a Linux shell. So just like you run a command echo hello or whatever, same only it's going to work. But where is our Jenkins? In our case, the shell is wherever your Jenkins is. In our case, it is running inside the container, so that's where it's going to execute this command. Now, but we missed one thing intentionally. So because this is something separate. In order for this to work, you have to tell Jenkins that where do I run these commands? I told you these run on Jenkins node, but we didn't tell it that. So Jenkins has this agents created. They call it agent. We're going to write it on top of everything because that's where everything is going to run in this case. And it has its agent nodes. Agents are basically, you can consider them, like imagine them as a person who is going to do the things, right? So Jenkins, right now we're want to use Jenkins only. So it's node. So we are just going to, we don't care. Just give it to any agent that Jenkins has and run it. And Jenkins obviously has a node, and that's where the command is, and it's going to run it inside the container, and so on and so forth. But right now you just have to say, we don't really care where you execute these, just execute them. With which agent is not relevant. And the use case of this is going to come ahead further. It's very, very important to select an agent, and we will discuss that further. But for now, you just say use any agent. Let's say that hopefully we don't get errors. If I do get errors, let's see. And you just go back and say build now. So if it's green, it's working. If you get a red ball, that means there is some error. How do you go inside it, and even for the error and whatever you have worked for, it will be in the console output. Started by user admin, that's me. This is a very important statement. You will understand more in depth later. Running during maximum ability, running on Jenkins. That's where it is running inside the container. And this is my workspace name because this is my job name. That's how it's created. First stage is executing, echo. It said, hello viewers, this is the output. And the second stage is working now because first stage is successful. And then the output is second stage is working now, finished, success, end of pipeline. So we automated. Now we don't have to type these things 2 times, right? So it's kind of an automation. We are just going to click build now again, and it will do it the second time. Successful. Again, we didn't have to write anything down or do anything. It did everything for us itself. And this is the basic idea of how we are going to use this in automating our entire workload, entire CI/CD. How that's going to vary, of course, but we are going to take some great examples and work on it. I think that's pretty much enough for this video. We will continue with more in depth. Stick with me.